Hello everybody and welcome to Lush and Salty Aquariums. My name is Stefan and I am so appreciative of your support of my channel. We're looking at the 12-gallon long from Lifeguard Aquatics rimless tank. It's a nice aquarium for sure, not quite as expensive as the UNS or ADA similar models, and still the clear glass, all that good stuff. And I did a film of this a couple weeks back, but I wanted to add some more texture and content and talk about a few things that maybe I didn't do before, namely the inhabitants of this tank, the Sparkling Gourami, and some of the issues I'm having with them, and the awesome emerged growth and with what those plants are, and some really neat results I'm getting from that particular endeavor, and whatever else comes to mind. So this is a long kind of view, so you see that I also have hardscaped the outsides of the tank, which I think is a cool feature, especially when you have elements emerging from the top of the tank, like the driftwood and some of the plants here. So as I move in, you can see I've just taken various driftwood and black lava rock, which is essentially the same hardscape that's in the tank, and sort of placed it out here. And there's a lovely little statue of fish that my daughter got me some years ago for a present. It's just fun to do that, right? And to kind of add your own personality and build outside the tank to add length and depth and awesomeness to your creation. And make no mistake, I think aquascaping and aquarium keeping at this level is definitely an art form. At least it suits my creative juices and a lot of other people. So let's start with the emerged growth. All right, so pothos, I've got a couple varieties of it, common, golden, and maybe some kind of variegated. You see the white spotted leaf there. I don't know their Latin names, but pothos is, you just sort of get the ones that are available at your greenhouse, or when your mom isn't looking, snip some from her house plant, or even in a doctor's office. That's what I do. I take little clippings when I see them and bring them home. They're very durable, and so that's the plant on the left. And the root structure, if I can get past my reflection, that big stalk there is from pothos, as well as that one there, and it has thicker, bigger white roots coming from it. Obviously, all of this wonderful floating plant is its own root system, and it kind of mixes up in there, but it's pretty distinguishable which ones are the pothos, and now it's starting to really come into its own. It might take a couple weeks at first, or it might begin immediately, but you don't have to wait too long for pothos to find its niche in and out of your tank. So to the right here, this wonderful stem, this is kind of a cool story. This is Hydrophilia, the Coriambosa, the large-sized hydro plant. And I just literally clipped the top from the same plant that was completely underwater here. I clipped the top, and I literally just balanced it on that piece of driftwood with the naked stalk going below the water. And I thought for sure it would fizzle up and die under the hot light suddenly being pulled from the water, but wrong. It's now an awesome, fast-growing, really interesting addition to this little emerged portion of my aquascape. And then over here is Creeping Jenny, and I've got a couple of those. My mother gave me some cuttings before we get a frost here in Chicago, And those are doing pretty well too. They go after the light. You can see that one there. And those roots are the really fine ones. And I don't know when I'll trim the roots. I mean, the Sparkling Gourami, and there's one there, they absolutely adore this sort of cover. Not my hand, but a heavy piece of wood, deep shading, tons of roots hanging down and below. It's a perfect place for a couple of those to create a bubble nest, which is what that species of fish does. So onto that species of fish. There were 5 I bought for this tank, and because it's a long tank with all these plants and rocks and wood, you can get away with doing that. They're very territorial, the males are, and sure enough, each of my Sparkling Gouramis literally took a portion of the tank and called it their own. That guy's there, and then there's a couple that sort of squabble amidst here, and then the other 2 share behind and in front of this heavy structure here, and that's great. So when I said earlier issues I'm not having any issues with the fish's health and how they're doing in the tank, but I don't think I've got any females. I made the mistake of purchasing fish that had the nicest fin structure and color and seemed the most boisterous at the store, and that's probably why I got all males, because the females are drabber and they might be a little bit more less aggressive, less conspicuous at the fish store. I knew better, but I sort of just picked the ones I liked and assumed with 5 I was going to get at least a female or 2. And maybe I did. It's hard to sex that fish, very hard actually. There are ways to do it. Supposedly you could look for the female ovaries literally through the skin. See, there's 2, that squabbling you just saw is indicative of 2 males bitching over territory, and there you see 2 there. But anyway, you would look for the ovaries right about on center fish below, and if you see a dark spot, and there's some inkling of one there, that indicates a female, but I don't know. I'm not seeing any spawning behavior, and I am seeing a lot of this territorial sort of squabbling. There's another one there. And worst case scenario, I just live with the males, because the squabbling seldom, if ever, results in anything I need to be terribly concerned about. I just sort of wanted spawning. Even if I didn't do anything to take care of the fry, I wanted to see that behavior in the bubble nest and all that good stuff, and I still might. Also in this tank, some Amano shrimp, ram's horn snails. I've got autocinkless, obligatory parts of all of my planted tanks. Here you see the pink flamingo cryptocorn with a couple autocinkless. There's a pygmy Coreodora. I have a few of those in here as well. And everybody's doing so well in the plants, and I have minimal algae, knock on wood. This is Hydrophilia Pentafutata, my favorite plant. And then I've got some common stems in the back there that I have to trim a lot, especially with such a shallow tank, but I love the effect, the verticalness against the overall long horizontal vibe. And I've got all sorts of crypts, a little bit of S. repens there, even a little hair grass amidst this gravel and UNS substrate, which I was fairly casual in how I laid that out. Just put the soil in, and then the ADA gravel and other sands and gravels up top to anchor the roots and maybe capture some of the blue-gray that is the vibe or the color scheme of this tank. The lights themselves, this particular, it's not the Chihiros, it's Higer. less expensive light. And you either get the white or you get all, right? You can turn all of them on, or just the white, or just the red and blue. So with all of them on, it kind of skews a little red-blue, which is great. I don't mind that at all. And it picks up the reds from the Hydrophilia Pentafutata, and it seems to work with the Sparkling Gouramis, which can skew that color as well. And I'm happy. And then the pink flamingo, there's another one there, a beautiful little clump of hair grass. I'm not expecting a carpet, and I don't want one. I want this intense variety, kind of a Skittles effect, if you will. Speaking of Skittles, there's a few red fire shrimp, cherry shrimp in here, but I haven't seen them. I only put 4 in here. I put a whole bunch in another tank, and I'll talk about that in an upcoming video. I've just made my foray into Neocaridina again with mixed results, but I'll talk about that another time. You gotta have autosynclus, you gotta have one kind of cory, and you gotta have invertebrates like snails, in my opinion, if you want results like this. And you know, there's always an issue with snails and, you know, overpopulating, but I'm not having that problem. I don't feed too much, and that's the main cause of a population explosion for snails. I have a lot of little ones, but they either fade, a few grow up, and I don't know, they just haven't turned into anything I need to be concerned about. Again, knock on wood. If you have any questions or want to comment on this lovely tank, I'm here for you. I'd love to answer. I will answer thoughtfully and thoroughly. I don't have too many subscribers, so I can definitely do that, and it's my pleasure and privilege. All right, folks, per usual, always keep your hands in the tank. Ciao for now.